Hello, and welcome to the 2019 Grants to Enhance Culturally Specific Services for Victims of Sexual Assault, Domestic Violence, Dating Violence, and Stalking. The free information we provide in this webcast is based on our interpretation of the grant announcement. The viewer, you, is advised that the publicly published grant announcement and the funding agency are the final authority on this subject grant. I would love to tell you a bit about myself. I am your presenter. My name is Sarita Gibbons. I am the owner for Comprehensive Grants Management. I have been providing successful grant writing services for over 12 years with an average 65% grant writing success rate. My hobbies are reading, painting, gardening, and playing the piano. Comprehensive Grants Management is a grant writing firm that provides additional value to clients by presenting free online webcasts, such as this one, about currently available grant funding opportunities. We are a full-time, full-year grant writing firm, and we have a average 65% grant writing success rate. I've also provided for you our website. You can visit our website. You can see our grant writing team on our website and learn a little bit about each team member. We have vlogs you can watch, we have articles you can read, and we have an endless list of other grants that we have won for our clients across the United States. Today's webcast will be on the 2019 Grants to Enhance Culturally Specific Services for Victims of Sexual Assault, Domestic Violence, Dating Violence, and Stalking. This grant is issued by the U.S. Department of Justice, and I've also provided for you a URL with additional grant application information assistance. The funding agency stated that organizations who are eligible to apply for this grant, the Grants to Enhance Culturally Specific Services for Victims of Sexual Assault, Domestic Violence, Dating Violence, and Stalking, which is abbreviated as the CSSP. So the funding is limited to private nonprofit organizations for which the primary purpose of the nonprofit is to provide culturally specific services to one or more of the following racial and ethnic communities. So the first racial and ethnic community that the funding agency listed is American Indians. So that includes Alaska Natives, Eskimos, and Aleuts. Also, Asian Americans. The third is Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Highlanders. The other is Blacks, and the other is Hispanics. So remember, nonprofits who are eligible for this grant are private nonprofits for which the primary purpose of the nonprofit is to provide culturally specific services to one or more of these racial and ethnic communities. The purpose of this grant is to support opportunities for culturally specific community-based organizations to address the critical needs of victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking. The grant due date is February the 7th, 2019 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please be sure to submit your applications into the funding agency on or before their due date of February the 7th, 2019 at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. Applicant organization must meet the following requirements. So if you're proposing to be the lead applicant in your applications, you must meet the following two. requirements. The first is to have a board of directors or steering committee and staffing, which is reflective of the culturally specific community you propose to serve. So please note this. In addition, to determine whether the organization meets this requirement, you will be considered by whether the Board of Steering Committee and staff include members with knowledge or experience relevant to the targeted community. If this grant funding are used for filling any of these positions, organizations may consider an applicant's knowledge or experience relevant to the targeted community, as well as knowledge skills needed to work with a particular population. But organizations may not consider a person's race or ethnicity as a basis for hiring decisions. So the second requirement that an organization must follow in order to be eligible for this grant is have documented organizational experience in serving victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking, or have entered into a partnership with an organization having such experience. So I want you to take special note of what I'm about to say because it includes a ineligible criterion. If you fall within this category, the funding agency stated that the organization is not eligible. So please note, if an organization has a culturally specific division, for example, a domestic violence organization with a division that focuses on Hispanic victims, the organization is not eligible because providing culturally specific services is not the primary purpose of the organization as a whole. So basically, the primary purpose has to be providing culturally specific services in order for your organization to be eligible for this grant. If you are an eligible applicant for this grant, and the purpose of the grant is within your scope of services, and you would like to apply for the grant, but you do not want to write the grant yourself in-house because of staff limitations, time limitations, and technical expertise, you can definitely give us a call and we will get started right away on your grant application. Please give us a call at 813-949-2877, or you can send us an email at grants@comprehensivegrants.com. The funding agency provided us with 8 focus areas, and the funding agency stated that funds under this grant program must be used for one or more of the following 8 focus areas. So the first focus area is to increase your community's capacity to provide culturally specific resources and support for victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking crimes, and this support can also be offered to the victims' families. The second is to enhance traditional services to the victim through the leadership of culturally specific programs offering services to the victims. The third focus area is to work in cooperation with the community to develop education and prevention strategies highlighting culturally specific issues and resources regarding the victims. The fourth focus area is to provide culturally specific resources and services that address the safety, and economic can be workforce development, housing, and workplace needs of the victims, including emergency assistance to the victims. The fifth focus area is to provide culturally specific programs for children exposed to sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking. The sixth focus area is to work with state and local governments and social service agencies to develop and enhance effective strategies to provide culturally specific services to the victims. The seventh focus area is to strengthen criminal justice interventions by providing training for law enforcement, prosecution, court, probation, and correctional facilities on culturally specific responses to sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking. And the eighth focus area is to examine the dynamics of culture and its impact on victimization and healing. So there are eight focus areas, and the funding agency stated that funds under this program must be used for one or more of the following focus areas. The period of performance for this grant, the estimated project start date is October the 1st, 2019, and the estimated project end date is October the 1st, 2021. So there is a 2-year grant period, and that is 24 months. The funding agency stated that they estimate to award 21 applications, and that is a really strong number. So the estimated number of awarded applicants will be 21. For this grant program, there is no match or cost sharing requirement, which an experienced grant writer knows that match can be very time consuming to generate and garner the necessary match that's needed to satisfy a grant announcement cost share or match requirement. But luckily for us, in this grant announcement, it says that there are no match or cost sharing requirements. So that's really good news. The funding agency stated that the grant award amount, that this program typically makes awards in the range of $250,000 to $300,000 for the 24-month grant period. So I encourage you to request up to $300,000 for your grant awards. Eligible participants for this grant program, when you create your grant application and you propose to serve participants, the participants will be victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking. The funding agency has some priority areas, and so the funding agency stated that applications proposing activities in the following priority areas may be given special consideration or additional points. So the first priority area is to reduce violent crime against women and promote victim safety. So remember, if you want to receive additional points, you must propose this priority area in your application. So please note applications that propose to address one or more of purpose areas 3, 4, 6, or 7 and demonstrate the capacity to implement the community partnerships necessary to do so may receive up to 5 additional points during the review process. And remember, I did go over those purpose areas in the previous slide. The second priority area is to include substance abuse professionals in a coordinated community response to VAWA crimes and increase victim access to substance abuse services. So note, applicants are encouraged to partner with substance abuse agencies as non-funded partners. That's very key. Applicants are encouraged to partner with substance abuse agencies as non-funded partners to build their capacity to work with substance abuse professionals in their community in order to increase victims' access to substance abuse services. So remember, If you want your grant application to be given special consideration or additional points, please make sure that you propose these priority areas in your application. It's decision time, and I have some questions to assist in aiding you in making a decision to decide if you want to apply for this grant. So the first question is, are you eligible for this grant? So remember that the funding agency stated that this grant is for private nonprofit organizations for which the primary purpose of the organization as a whole is to provide culturally specific services to one or more of the following racial and ethnic groups. And the racial and ethnic groups are American Indians, including Alaska Natives, Eskimos, and Aleuts, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders, Blacks, and Hispanics. So if you have a culturally specific organization as a whole that provides services for these racial and ethnic groups, then yes, you are eligible for this grant. The second question is, do you have a need for this grant? I believe that every community has a need for grants such as these. So I do believe, yes, your community probably does have a need for this grant. The third question is, do you want to apply for this grant? So you may not have the expertise in-house, or maybe there are time constraints or staffing constraints, and so you must decide if you would like to apply for this grant. However, if you've answered yes to all the questions, then congratulations, because you're one step closer to requesting up to $300,000 for the 2 years to operate this grant program. Thank you so very much for spending the time with me on this webcast. It was a pleasure to spend the time with you to present and do this overview for you on this very needed grant for every community. I would love to get some feedback from you. Please either like our social media page or leave a comment and let me know how this webcast did assist you, if it assisted you to understand the grant a little bit more, and if it assisted you in completing your grant application a little bit more thoroughly. I would appreciate that. If you would like to apply for this grant, but you realize you do not want to apply for the grant in-house, that is why we exist. Comprehensive Grants Management is a full-time, full-year grant writing firm with a team of grant writers all under one roof, and we would be happy to get started on your grant application. You can give us a call at 813-949-2877. You can also send us an email at grants@comprehensivegrants.com and just let us know that you would like to apply for the grants to enhance culturally specific services for victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking. Or you can just say, I would like to apply for a grant. Please give me a call back. So you can do that as well. So thank you so very much for your time, and I look forward to spending the time with you in our next webcast.